Time reverse.
Yeah. So we were talking about should you bring snacks as a player, right? Was it as a player or just in general?
In general, let's
in
be
general,
honest.
right? So I was saying that I don't really.
You should
for
never
me,
be.
snacks at the table are like
yeah.
popcorn, right? They are there, and it doesn't matter if I'm hungry. It doesn't matter if I really like it. It's within reach, and my brain instinctively wants it. Basically,
Yeah, I have that issue. I'm like a fiend for snacks. If they're there in my reach, I'm like, oh yes, of course.
right.
I'd be a fool to say no.
And since we were talking about it, I really like those waffle cigars, or I don't know
I
what you
know
call it,
exactly
like
what you're
waffle
talking.
rolls with
Cream in the middle.
yeah, man. Those are so bad for me, but they feel so good. But I don't know. I don't think anything should be an obligation, right? I
Exactly.
think this is what you were saying. Like should no, but
It's
but
nice
also
to-
kind of should yes, right? You know, you have the DM putting all the work and
It's a nice
effort
gesture.
and, so it's it should work. Like nobody gets upset if you don't do it, but it's nice if you do. It shows that you care a little bit, I guess. So let me rephrase. It's a good way to show that you care as a player for the efforts that's being done by the DM.
It also depends on the group itself, because various groups have different preferences. I've been at tables where the dungeon master is known to be the one that brings burgers to the table and everyone else whatever they want. I've been at the tables where there was no food on the table at all, maybe just drinks. I've been at tables where people drink alcohol at the table. So I guess it really depends on the preferences of the player and the DM at the respective table. And this is probably also something that, unless it's very natural for the group, like if you know each other for a long time and you know all of your preferences, it's something to be discussed beforehand.
Yeah, you just ask. And that's pretty easy. Because even then, like, you might want to ask, hey, what snacks can I bring? Ultimately, there are only two options at the end of the session. Either you take back the things that you brought, or you leave them, and you might want to make sure that the things that you bring are things that at least the host
is okay with.
Yeah, otherwise, it's just wasted. So
funny story regarding the amount of food and the type of food, right? And the question of like, what should I bring? This one table where I think I had maybe like 6 players at that table at that time, maybe even 7. So there was quite a few of us. One time, all of them but one brought like savory snacks. And then the second time, everyone collectively had the same thoughts. We had biscuits, we had fruits, we had, I was extremely hungry and I was thinking that like, oh, there's probably going to be some snacks. But there was nothing savory at all. Everything was just sugar with sugar on top of sugar. And that was like interesting, beautiful, and also like it kind of like showed that there was no collaboration between us. Everyone just brought whatever they thought was appropriate, and everyone had exactly the same thought at the same time. We should bring some more sweets to the table.
That's the best when you're hungry, because it's like quick calories, right? So
Agreed.
One of the things I really appreciate, my current Warhammer DM, him and his wife always make like this sour dip, like a big bowl. They always like chop up carrots and they always chop up fresh cucumber. And I'm always like a fiend. They're like, snacking. Even the dog they have is so used to me being there snacking because he always comes up to me like, oh, can I have some? I'm like, of course you can.
Excuse me, sir. May I have another?
That's precious.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a D&D table that like eats healthy. Because usually people bring like candy and chips and stuff. Yeah, Louis is showing off his carrots. Yeah, carrots are a good idea.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I've been a part of tables that have mixed. Like, there's vegetables, there's fruits, there's meaty products, there's some sugary stuff. It's like, choose your own adventure.
Usually when people ask me what to bring, I usually say like fruit. Bring some grapes, some sliced apples, or whatever. Or nuts is another option.
Yeah, nuts are very underrated.
So
Whatever keeps your fingers not sticky
Yes.
is best.
Right.
Except for some exceptions, like
Something on
those
your mind?
cubes you were talking about, like they're good.
But there I would
That's fine.
draw a small distinction as well because besides D&D, I often play board games, and with board games, like especially if you have cards or anything, then having sticky hands is
Yeah.
definitely a no-no. At least when I'm hosting, I ask people like, please, don't play with dirty hands. But when you have D&D and all the stuff that you're touching is your own stuff, technically, like if
Your own
if,
dice,
if you have
yeah.
no self-respect, that's your problem. So for me, it's okay. But that said, I've never had any sort of catastrophic. Can't even look at it kind of situation where
Yeah.
people were just not being tidy.
Mel is also suggesting carrots. Good idea, Mel. Louis seconds that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she likes baby carrots.
I had an accident with food at the table the other day. I had a player who had a peanut allergy.
Ooh.
Like he let everyone knows in advance that he's allergic. I like as a medic, I always ask when people tell me about their allergies, I always ask like what will happen if you will eat it. He told us that like he'll die. And then we had a bit of like a switch up of players at the table. So we had someone new bringing home baked cookies. And then there was like a language different, like everyone spoke different languages. So I asked her like, "What's in the cookie?" She told me I might have like ignored it or something, and the cookies ended up at the table. So the person I'm running a game, and the person grabs the cookie, he eats it, and then he like stops the game and he asks me like, "What's in the cookie?" I'm like, okay, let's figure this out. So yeah, it was a bit of a scare in the moment. Thank God it ended well. But yeah, and if you have any allergies, always let people know. I think it's a good
Every
idea.
session.
That is actually a good point against nuts, to be perfectly honest. Even though I really like to have some at the table because they are clean. They don't.
It's
dirt
for
your hands there.
immersion.
But
Death
yeah,
saving throws.
but they are.
Yeah, saving throws won't help here, unfortunately.
Throw the cookies.
Yeah.
All right, so food is an awesome topic. A lot of snacks we can talk about. Adrian, grab another one.
Certainly.
Give us
Let's
your
see.
hot take.
You need €0 to play D&D. The experience is free. I actually agree with that. Now, of course, there's differences in terms of preferences and what you like to bring at the table. Like, as a dungeon master, a lot of times I bring 3D printed miniatures and battle maps with wet erase markers. But honestly, you can just, maybe have a piece of paper and a pen, whatever you have laying around. You can roll dice on the internet or borrow some dice from a friend that already has some. And you can have a good time. You can even use apps or whatever. So technically, yes, the experience is free. Is that sufficient for everyone to have as much of a good time as they would? Maybe not. Maybe it depends on the person specifically. If someone has been at Anton's table for a long time and expects, all of those tiny painted terrain miniatures and tiles, and when he says a barrel, there's a barrel, and then he shows you what kind of creature is attacking you.
It's
And
a
then you
barrel
go-
crab.
Yes, a metal crab, for example. And then you go back to Theater of the Mind, it's a different experience.
Okay, I'll put it
But
back
still,
then.
the experience itself can easily be done for free, and I strongly stand by that.
I think the first TTRPG I played in the park behind the Tallinn University on a bench with like a 1d20 or something. Like that's all we had, and it was a lot of fun. I still remember that game.
Yeah, I think my first game we also had like one pair of dice that we just collectively used and just made it work. Like, oh, I found some Google images and we'll put it on the computer screen. This is like to build ambience, and YouTube was playing. One of my friends even got drunk and constantly was suggesting like, let's put this song on that doesn't fit the theme we're going for. It was a shit show.
And when I started DMing, I was wondering how I'm going to bring anything to the table. So essentially, Anton here wanted to throw away some old, almost broken up battle map that he had.
that I also inherited from another person.
I took it, I glued it with whatever glue I had on hands, and I'm still using that battle map to this day. Now I have two of them, one from you, one from Lewis. Exactly the same battle map. I didn't actually know that it's the same.
Well, now I know what to gift you.
Hmm?
Now I know what to gift you. I'm the third person who hasn't given you a battle map.
Just battle map galore.
The scary thing is that he will actually put it to use.
Yeah.
Like you'll have a session where you have like three layers of battle.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be like
Oh, yeah.
different levels and just
right. Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
Like-
both of the battle maps are now filled on both sides. There are those foldable battle maps. Both sides of both of them, so 4 maps, are now filled.
That's
for
why
the
I said
session
what
that I'm
I
going
said.
to have on Sunday. Yeah,
I know who I'm.
but hey,
dealing with.
no spoilers there. This is for the session that has not happened yet. So,
You
but
mean
yeah,
the one with the crocodiles?
yeah, the one
Where-
with the witches, exactly.
Right, where yes, okay, yes, understand.
But essentially, I was using those battle maps, some dice that I already had from playing as a player for like half a year or a year before. And I didn't have a DM screen, so I was using, I believe, your screen for a bit. Then I was using some random pieces of paper, and
No,
then I
you-
built myself a
Yeah,
DM screen.
you built your own, which is really cool.
So, yes, you can play D&D or any TTRPG probably for free.
So, am I going to be the voice of dissonance here at the table on this?
Oh, please.
All
Prove
right,
us wrong.
Speaking of hot takes,
All right, hot takes, right? So, I think you're not wrong when you say it can be free. You can play for free, but I would say it can be free for you. But if we are talking about group economy, then no, because someone had to learn the rules from some source book or some other material. Someone had to, get some experience, some from somewhere to be able to run the game, explain it to others. So if we are talking about today, yes, the 4 of us could have a zero monetary cost game right now. But even when we are talking about resources that are essentially free, like, putting some music playing on YouTube, that costs someone something
Time,
to
yeah.
produce. No, not just time, but it costs resources to actually produce that song, right? So in the greater scheme, no, you cannot play for free. You today, like the 4 of us, could play for free without anything specific, but only because we already invested in the past to be able to get to this point today.
Fair enough.
That would be my opinion.
We also have a few comments from viewers in the meantime.
You just use a laptop as a screen. Duh. Well, yes. I mean, yes, that's.
Well, the laptop costs you money, right? And having the laptop on during the session is going to cost you electricity, and normal equipment wear and tear. So even if you're being pedantic about, even if I am being pedantic about what constitutes a cost in the end, I would still say there is a cost associated with things, because yes, you can roll dice on your phone. Well, you paid for your phone at some point, right?
well, technically your phone is not related to D&D, so.
I mean, sure, okay, but
But
Still.
although I think we are getting into the very technicalities
right,
of things.
that's what I'm saying. Like maybe there's like 2 or 3 degrees of distance between the cost and what you are doing now today, but still.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you want to pull a...
All right, guys. Next topic.
That's why they're hot takes,
Ouch.
right? We
Oof,
have to
Ouch! Ouch! It's the hat is really really hot.
It's the
let
hat
me
of
put that one
embers.
in.
quickly give him the staff of healing.
Oh, it's right here. Oh, no, the 3D.
All right, folks. Role
Go on.
play is more important than combat.
Yes.
I agree. I hate D&D combat.
Same.
I think this game is the
Awful.
combat in this game is really poorly designed. It's really slow, and it's usually like the low part of my session. I love the role play. I know like there has to be combat, but I'm like every time I go to combat, I have to like swallow a little bit of it up because I don't like how D&D combat is designed.
My favorite are spellcasters who don't know their spell list. Yummy.
I'm gonna partially disagree with that. Just thinking of combat as itself, not as what it takes to do the combat, especially because there are many different systems out there. I myself have only played D&D so far, but I hear of you were mentioning Genesis at some point that it has a better system
No, Genesis
from that
is
perspective, and
great for dice. If you want to roll a lot of dice, go Genesis. But yeah, there's a lot of systems. But go on.
But also, we're probably very partial here in our saying that roleplay is more important because, yes, roleplay is very important, but combat also is important, and it also depends to whom. For example, for a min-maxer, as a player, most likely they don't really understand or care that much about the roleplay itself. They're specifically waiting for combat to show their AC and, do whatever they want to do. I have had players at my table that have engaged with 0% of roleplay and only have a smile on their face whenever combat happens. Yes, it's slow, but it's important for some people. So I would say neither is more important than the other. Maybe we tend more towards roleplay as DMs because, well, that's where everything shines from our perspective.
Mel is telling us to bring Genesis into D&D fantasy. More clickety-clackety. Yep.
All
I mean,
right, so I
Genesis
think
is D&D
everybody is
fantasy.
looking at me, expecting me to say a certain thing.
Paladin with AC of 25.
But actually, no, I don't agree that combat is more important. I agree that the roleplay part is more important. The difference for me is that, yes, I do like... so when I'm creating a character, my first priority is creating a character that is mechanically sound. Like a character that does fun things or maybe flashy things is more correct. And I do spend a lot of time tweaking my character way beyond the time that I spend thinking of a backstory or a voice or a personality. Now, you guys have all sat with me at a table and you can tell me if I'm wrong. I think my characters still have personality and still, like have their identities and their voices and their
Yeah, they do.
hooks and but this is something that I think about after I've spent like 4 hours in D&D Beyond, thinking like, what can I combine with this? What can I add there? That, however, doesn't mean that the most interesting part of the game for me is combat, because yes, combat in D&D does have an aspect of tedium to it. So if combat was fast, then I think you guys would enjoy it more as well. Like it is for me far less interesting to be sitting at a table with 4 people, just spending 3/4 of the time waiting for it to be my turn to do my action. So it's a mix. Like in a way, I get to like, aha! Now that thing that I planned for, like that I molded my character around, is going to trigger, and I'm going to feel the hit of dopamine that my engineering of the character worked. But then it does, and then it's like 3/4 of the time. Again, actually, no, it's more than 3/4 because the monsters go as well. So it's not even just the other 3 players. It's the monsters and all the things that happen. So a discussion or a puzzle or investigating an environment can be very fun compared to that. I would not diss combat In a way, I would not say like combat is boring. It's a part of the game that I hate, because I don't hate it. I think we as DMs have to somehow work around the way that combat works in order to make it more interesting. Try to come up with some mechanics that accelerate the process, like, roll your damage with your attack roll to make it faster. Make sure that you already know what you intend to do when it's your turn. Like Rene was saying, like, well, wizards that don't remember their spell list, maybe you don't remember
You
off
don't
the
need-
top of your head, but you know that
Yeah.
your round that your turn is next.
I mean, if you have a
take
general,
that time to
if you have the general idea of what you have, it's like, okay, fireball. So that's an area spell of some kind. Okay, you don't need to know that it does 66 or whatever amount of
or
damage
8,
it
I
takes.
think.
Yeah, I think it was 86.
Yeah.
Like, that's not necessary, but like, just know what it does.
But I think it's as well like combat can also be an excellent can also give you an excellent opportunity to roleplay. Like the combat doesn't need to be absent of roleplay in it, because you can ideally, let's say, you would not say like, I attack twice with my sword. You would say like, I am concerned about my companion's safety, so I raise my sword bravely in the air, and I'm far from the microphone, sorry. I raise my sword furiously in the air, and I fail and hit the wall. Sparks fly from the wall. But, this is great for like the first round, maybe the first 2 rounds, and then you're like, can we get this over with? Because you don't want to describe your 14th attack. You're kind of at that point you're just say, I attacked twice, I miss once, 15 bludgeoning damage.
I literally have a story about that from his campaign where, my turns usually take half a minute and then you wait for 20 minutes for your turn, and it's like, oh, right, it's my turn. I pull out my longbow and I shoot 2 arrows and I miss. All right.
Right.
20 minutes later, oh, right, it's my turn again. Now I get to attack. I miss.
That's just how the game goes.
And I missed 4 rounds in a row. Like, in an hour. We played for an hour. I missed every shot. I was ready to give up.
But you see, I saw a quote. I don't remember if it was from Merles or from Crawford, like one of the 2 main designers of the ND5e. And they were saying that they designed the game for you to have 7 to 8 combat encounters between long rests. And what I was thinking in my head is, if you're going to have 7 or 8 battle encounters, then they did not design combat encounters to be long and to have the difficulty that they have. They probably imagined a system where you would have frequent but very short, like 1-2 round kind of encounters happening throughout the game. So you wouldn't be having like this block of 2 hours where you are just fighting, but you would be fighting for like 15 minutes or something, and then you would go back into. And maybe as DMs, we are just doing it wrong, let's say. It feels weird to say that, but maybe we are not running combat like the designers of the game envisioned combat being run. Like, we are creating encounters that are far harder, involve far more monsters, than what they envisioned originally.
My experience is more like 1 combat, 1 long rest.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
Well, that's
This
because we
is-
want to make everything be epic, and that's probably also something that is, both a blessing and a curse when you're behind the DM screen, because you want everything to be epic. You want to give this experience to your players. You want them to have certain feelings and everything. And it's quite hard to create an encounter where, the players easily overpower the opponents in like 1 or 2 turns and then carry on. and do that for a few times, maybe multiple sessions, as you were saying, up to 7 times between long rests, instead of like making this one epic fight and then having some role play for one session afterwards or anything like that. But there's also the problem that if you make every single fight epic, then it just becomes very
If everything's epic, nothing is epic.
yeah, exactly. And it also becomes platonic, boring, long. And I, for one, am very much at fault of this because I have done very many of those. Entire session is just combat, and then at the end of it was basically we played 4 hours, 5 hours. What was the last one?
Yeah.
And I added the NPCs in the roster, and yeah. But a
It
lot
took
of
a
things
while.
can be simplified. And we all learn to improve on that and make it as short as possible.
Guys, there's a great question in the comment section. Have you ever thought about modifying the combat system in D&D, and how would you do it? From my side, I once tried substituting hit points for just hits. So instead of having like 72 hit points, let's say a paladin can take 8 hits.
I've done that.
So yeah, if an enemy hits you, you lose 1 hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you hit an enemy, it loses like 1 or 2. If you land 2 attacks, your enemy loses 2 hits.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of calculating damage, you just like count hits. Like that really sped is that right? Sped things up. Yeah.
I've done that too. It helps. I've also just done like, this fight has gone on long enough. Next hit kills it,
Right.
or something like that.
Actually, I have a question for you then. How does that change from using... Because I've noticed in the latest games I played with you, you just say... You don't roll for damage. You just say the average, basically. You just use
yes,
the average.
I would, yes.
Isn't that as fast as saying you have X number of times you can be hit?
It depends because 1 hit correlates to 1 HP, while a fireball can be up to a certain amount of HP. So you have to keep track of do the calculations. But meanwhile, 1 minus 1 is 0.
So once again, I do this to like streamline combat and speed things up. So I would for monster damage I would never roll dice. I always have a set amount. So like if a monster hits the player, it will deal 5 damage. Like I won't roll dice every single time a monster hits. I know it might sound boring, but it really helps speed combat up.
But
So yeah, it's like you wouldn't
go on.
do this with every single character, but specifically the lower characters. And then if you have any bigger boss, mini boss, some important NPC, then you would still roll for damage to have that sort of edge of, you get hit, but just a scratch, or you get hit and it's a big, powerful hit, or anything like that. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I actually cut you off. But one of the things I recently did is essentially, since a lot of D&D comes down to action economy, how I improved that is not by adding more like minions, but I just gave the boss creature like several actions. No, like you did recently with your, like this goes here, it also goes here, and maybe it goes there too. And just like add several actions to the boss, let him do like cool stuff in one round. And if you have like for example, like I had the Cloud of Daggers, it just triggers twice, and the player is like, "Oh, I'm being rewarded for my smart thinking." Because now it does double damage technically.
Although sometimes you do want to have different targets so that the players...
It's situational.
The things that they have that have effects attached to them.
Mm.
If there's a single target that has to survive always the conditions that the actions of the player may impose on it, it can really easily, in my experience, just stack basically, and then the creature is not doing so well anymore.
Fair enough.
And if it has just legendary resistances, then you err on the other side where basically the players feel like they are doing nothing. They are just burning their best stuff to try to control this character, this monster, and it's I don't know. I guess it's a balance between them, I suppose.
Go on.
In the comment section, Quake says, I found miniature-based combats be far more boring than the narrative-based combats. As in when the map and miniatures get set up, etc., limits the change of setting, speed, and so on. I thank you for your comment. I partially agree. I found that different players enjoy different setups. Me myself, I enjoy like narrative-led combat more. I don't even need the miniatures on the table. But I notice players do love minis, especially people who have issues with focus and concentration. Like if you have ADHD, it's much simpler for you to follow the miniatures on the table so that you always remember like where stuff is, or where did the heroes end up, or where did the monsters end up. So to each his own, as they say.
Fair. I do agree with like the narrative aspect, because I've found that when you're using minis, it's easy to like limit yourself. You're like, oh, I see this, okay, and I will only think about this instead of like trying to think outside the box.
I think a good session has both. Maybe if I have like 2 or 3 combats planned for a session, I will do a simpler combat in as a narrative, narrating the kind of the battlefield and the structure and the outcomes. But the big battle will probably always be like a big long battle will probably always be with minis.
Yeah, that's a perfect compromise. Actually, I have started with heavily relying on strict rules. You're this far away. You can move this much. There's these obstacles in the way. That's how I started DMing. But now I'm migrating more and more towards the theater of the mind approach. I have played at tables with theater of the mind. There are also some inconveniences there, in the sense that.
What you imagine is not the same thing that DM described.
Not really. More like you kind of forget what's there, or basically I start all of my rounds as a player asking the DM, so how many can I see and how many are within range, and how many can I get to? And that's not necessarily bad, because it gives you extra flexibility. It's in my opinion better than when you have a rigid grid on a map and it's like, I can move 30 feet, but he's 35 feet away. There goes like all the fun stuff I could do in my turn. No, just get in his face and bash it with your hammer or something. That doesn't. You shouldn't run into these situations where there's one cell between the two of you, and so you cannot do the thing that you wanted to do. It makes the game way more boring. So yeah, I see a bit of virtue in both. Personally, because I have bad eyesight, it actually helps me to not worry about squares and rigid grid, both when I'm playing and when I'm DMing. Beyond that, I don't know. I think it is nice to have some sort of. I guess the ideal would actually be to have some sort of map without a grid. So you have the minis there, but the boundaries of the map and the distances in the map are more like figurative than an exact scale.
Yeah,
Some sort of visual representation.
I have literally an example
Suggestive.
for you. Like we've been playing Genesis a bit, and there's literally like 3 distances that come to mind: short, medium, long. And usually when we have like a map with minis, we're like, how much is short? And just put your hand there and like, oh, it's about yay long. And you just move your hand plus minus like a little bit just to narratively get in range.
I personally have only done Theater of the Mind's combat twice so far, so I'm not that experienced in this aspect, but it does seem like both have their own specific uses, because one of the two was a very good experience, the other one was exactly the opposite. First, I ran a Theater of the Mind encounter in what was like a system of caves, and I found that extremely often the players would stop. They would not realize anymore exactly where is left, where is right, where have we been, where are we going to, because the tunnels were twisting and turning. And I had the map in front of me, but the players didn't have, so they didn't exactly know where to go. But on the other sides, in the same game that I'm playing with you as usual, I tried to have sort of a dynamic scene where the players were like in a cart moving through the forest. They were being chased by werewolves, and I didn't want to stop and add miniatures and everything like that. We didn't even roll for initiative. I was like, okay, you guys go, then they go. You guys go, then they go. And I was narratively saying how werewolves are jumping from one side to the other, slashing at the beasts and at the players, and then they would do their awesome things. And it was kind of like, I think, 3 or so turns that went quite fast actually, out of initiative, until they got to a safe spot.
I actually have a. Can I?
Please.
Yeah, I finished my
Just
idea.
a quick
That's
comment
fine.
on because I was a player on that session, and there was just one thing that confused me a little bit about it. And in my opinion, there's no other way that you could have run it. Like this as figures on a map would have been essentially impossible.
Exactly.
So I think you made the right choice, but I would add a couple of things, or I have a couple of comments. For me, it was very hard to understand the degree of danger, because it felt from round 1 to round 3 that it didn't really matter how much resources we were using, particularly the players who are casters or half casters and have a limited pool of the big stuff, let's say. So I didn't really understand what impact are my actions having in the greater picture, because as you were saying, like, there were werewolves coming from the sides of the road and attacking the caravan, and okay, but is the effort that I'm putting in as a player actually like taking care of the issue, taking care of the danger, taking care of the problem, or is it absolutely not doing that much? Are they just going to keep coming in droves? So might as well not use my resources and keep them. That was the one comment I had. Sorry, Anton. Just wanted to.
Guys, I think to save time, I would suggest we go to our last topic for today. But let me read the comments first. So, okay, I feel like a wizard now. I'm pronouncing the name of the commenter. Azravan Akarana says.
Oh, hey,
"I
lesser
always-
demon.
Wow,
You cast a spell.
I grew a second heart. How did that happen?
Says,
Whoa.
I always loved miniatures in D&D. Probably have some personal attunement to things I can touch. Hey, come play at my table. Woohoo. And then Melmel is asking us, how would you create a horror setting? I think it's it doesn't matter what you play scary music.
I mean, we recently kind of did a thing. It wasn't really horror per se. It was more
It was for me.
a thought experiment that I tried to do just randomly, because us three met up, and I was like, "Hey, I got an idea."
I would qualify it as horror.
Yeah.
I literally just
At least
put
for us.
them in a post-apocalyptic scenario where they were in a mall, and there was a bunch of mannequins that were secretly moving around. What was moving around? Don't know. And it's just a lot of like. I think most of the time the players were just trying to figure out what was the going on, or like what were the rules of this situation. Are the mannequins following them? Is something else doing that? Or who the now what now? But in reality, most of the time I did nothing. I just gave them like a puzzle goal and just let them do their little puzzle until the very end, until I was like, haha, behold.
Yeah, they actually attacked. I was like, what? That happened? All right.
Essentially, you just let the player's mind do their own thing.
One word, tension.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tension. Yeah, you need that. And you just
Don't go straight into combats. Don't let anything be
heavily
safe.
limit combat, but make it feel vulnerable, or I guess not the suppressive in a way.
You can also add some elements to the story of something that happened before you, vestiges of things that happened that were not so pleasant before you arrived at this spot.
Yeah, like narratively build it up. Like
Yeah, so you find like you find some letter next to a skeleton, or you find some corpse half eaten, or blood splattered, like very old and dry on some surfaces. That indicates that this area, it doesn't like you. It is
A hostile environment.
it is hostile to you. Yes.
Mm.
We are being asked for our opinion on Dragonlance and Dark Sun settings. I was excited about Dragonlance before I learned that it's about a continental war. So kind of the big premise is that there's a large continent and the big war is coming. It sounded fun before 2022. Like I would have loved to play these settings, but now I don't know where you're from. We're from Tallinn, Estonia. Here I don't like playing scenarios of global wars anymore.
War is too close to home.
Doesn't sound a lot of fun to me. But Dark Sun looks really cool. I don't have any experience with it, but I love the premise, and I heard they have lately announced that they will be reviving the setting and publishing probably books. So I'm excited about that. Looking forward to this. Guys, let's go to our last hot take.
Sure.
Senor.
I'm not sure if I'm going to ask
Let
for
me
assistance
do that.
on this one. You know what?
Roll for perception.
Why not? Thank you, please.
Luis, tell me if you agree or not. You always need to run a session 0 before starting a campaign.
No.
Depends on your players.
Exactly.
Thank you. Exactly what I was about to say. If you have a table of newcomers that you are going to run for, then yes, absolutely run a session 0. If I would run a game for the 3 of you, I would not run a session 0. I would give you some very basic instructions. Hey, this is the setting, this is the character level, these are my house rules. Just do whatever you want. Agree between yourselves. Like if you want to play synergetic characters, show up with 3 clerics. I don't care. Like do whatever you want. You are experienced. We are here to have fun. I run mostly short games nowadays anyway, so it's not like you will make decisions today that you will regret in a year and a half. Whatever. Not important in my
The goal
opinion.
is to have fun.
Yeah.
I think session 0s are useful, like no doubt. But then, as an adult, I have limited time slots I can dedicate to D&D, and sometimes I feel sorry that I need to like spend a separate time slot of my time, kind of aligning with the players. Like I wish there could be a way to streamline it, or maybe do it online. But yeah, like it usually eats up some time, and yeah, that makes me sad. Time is scarce.
At the same time, session 0s are really useful, especially for games where you're going to have more than just one shot with one or more people that you don't know, or of various backgrounds. And sometimes it feels as though having the session 0 in person as a specific session is much easier than trying to coordinate multiple chats over one or more messaging platforms with up to 3, 4, 5, 6 people, depends. And a lot of times gathering together at the table and having the session 0 is going to be much more beneficial to make sure everyone is aligned. I actually, for the last game that I started recently, which is going to have the session, I think 4th session, I believe, this Sunday, I had the session 0 with them, and I still feel that there's a little bit of information that I'm missing, and I feel as though I would even want to have a session 0 2.0 with each one of them individually, but that would just take so much time and effort from everyone involved.
I joined one of your campaigns, like kind of in the middle of it, maybe even more than in the middle, and I was a little bit lost in the beginning when it came to story and characters, but it was still enjoyable. So I don't know. Like I guess it depends a lot, as Rene was saying, on the players.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. If you have enough experience with enough different people and different tabletop groups and everything like that, then regardless of where you jump in, you're going to figure it out anyways within 1 or 2 sessions, maybe 3 sessions, like you did yourself. But if there would be a new player coming in the same scenario, then I would probably have to explain a lot of things to them.
New player
here's
as
how
in
the grain-
inexperienced, or
as in actually completely beginner.
Okay.
I would have to explain how the game works, what has happened so far, and everything like that. They wouldn't be able to just jump in and take over like you did.
Guys, we're live for 5 more minutes. If you have any questions for us, we would love to answer them. In the meanwhile, we can pick up if you guys want to
hot
pick
take.
up another
5
card.
minutes. 5 minutes. Using D&D Beyond. No. During
Pick
the
another one.
no, during the session slows the game down. Yes.
no.
No.
Yes and no.
You're constantly on D&D Beyond, so you're already ready and know it by heart. But for me, I kind of find it like, bloody hell, where was the thing? You're kind of like fiddling with it. Even though I don't think there's a better alternative.
Sadly, true.
Yeah, that's the issue. Like,
I do have moments when I'm like scrolling through the phone to like, okay, this is skills, this is spells, this is actions, this is. I do have those moments. Not gonna lie. However, and again, because I have some eyesight issues, but I don't know if it would apply actually to any human at this table.
Hello,
If
human,
I
here it
had to
applies.
look for those things, sorry, if I had to
No
look
problem.
for those things on a character sheet in front of me, then roll dice manually, like roll physical dice, then add the bonuses, the modifiers. Let's not say bonuses, the modifiers myself, calculate everything, and serve a final value. I really don't think that I'm taking more time on the screen just because I have to scroll between pages rather than have a page in front of me
not fair.
and pushing a button that rolls and adds most of the bonuses. The D&D Beyond does have limitations with, auras and hex or whatever you might have active at the moment, but still significantly faster in my opinion. So one thing offsets the other, like the fact that I have to navigate offsets the fact that you have to add everything manually.
I will say this much: while on the phone it takes a lot of time, if you have a tablet or anything, that will simplify it because you have a
Oh,
bigger
really?
screen. I've seen Julio use it. Milmil has used a tablet, I think, once or twice, and that has been like a massive upgrade.
I'm rarely a player behind the table. What when I play, I'm a pen and paper guy. So I bring my printed character sheet and I roll fast. I calculate fast, just because I know how much of a drag can D&D combat be. So I try to speed things up on my part by doing math quickly.
And actually, generally, if you write the stats down, you kind of remember them already.
I think so too. All right, guys. Louis, that spell I casted on you earlier that shocked you a little bit was actually seemed to have actually been a name of a Sumerian demon. So if you need, we can banish that later when we
Sure.
go.
Sure.
So that second heart is probably that.
It's cursed. Yes.
yes.
It's
Probably get rid of it. Make sure you get the right one.
it's gonna drain the first one and then take over.
Adrian, quick last take.
All right, let's see. Writing a long character backstory is a waste of time. Define long and what for.
I think this is the perfect one for you.
So I'm going to say yes again.
Yes and no.
Yeah, of course, it's always nuanced, but these are hot takes, so we
Fair.
cannot be. If we're all like
For
always
like a-
giving like a grayish, lukewarm answer to everything, then
Fair enough.
I mean, I would say, first of all, if you like to write, I myself also like to write, and probably Anton knows that a lot of times whenever I'm playing something with him, he's like, oh, make a very basic character sheet with a very basic backstory. I make like 3 pages or something, so I'm guilty of that myself, because I like to go deep in it. But how I would go about it is writing a long backstory in itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. Just don't expect your dungeon master to be able to read through, understands catalog, right?
catalog information.
And utilize all of it, because there's only so much that can be utilized. I would rather use what are called knives. So yes, go ahead and make your backstory as long as you want, but then make a bullet points of, NPCs from your backstories that you have relations with that might still be relevant. Something that has happened in your past that
Narrative
is
hooks.
haunting you and why. And, this location that you're avoiding and why you're avoiding it. Anything that is sort of incomplete, because those are the things that can actually be brought to the table somehow. So feel free to make a novel if you want to, and then make one sheet or a paragraph or whatever with information that your DM can actually utilize, and then it's going to work properly.
I have a player in my group who plays a goblin who likes rocks. That's all of his story.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, we're playing Curse of Strahd, and he's coming to Barovia as a goblin who likes to throw rocks. I mean, that's all he does, and the whole adventure is ahead of him, right? Where will he throw his rocks? What kind of rocks will he find? What kind of rocks will he lose? So so much awesome things you can create during the campaign.
Is he a stoner?
Stoner Goblin, yeah.
I tried making this joke, but he didn't like it, so probably not. No.
Did he throw rocks at you?
Consider during a session, how much does personality come into play versus backstory, right? And I would say personality comes into play far more, like what upsets you, what makes you happy, how do you react to things.
Fair.
Like it's far more impactful than, I grew up in a farm as a farmer that farms in farms, and
John Farmer.
John Farmer, yes.
Pleasure to meet you.
Jimmy Farmer, if you please. Yes.
Guys, shall we call it a night?
I don't know. I can answer one or two more questions if you have something.
I wish we could, but the hat is all empty.
What's on the
Maybe
label?
if there's any more questions from the viewers, then
Guys, if there are any more
Washington
questions
60
from the
degrees.
viewers, we would love to answer them. Melmel is asking if there will be more podcast formats like this. Yes, I really liked spending time with you tonight. I hope you did too.
Yeah, this has been fun actually.
I had an awkward moment where I was holding a carrot for like 15 minutes before I found
Oh,
out
yeah, I
that
saw
I
that.
could. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to eat this. I'm going to make noise on the microphone. And then I ended up like hitting the microphone 20 times when I was...
You could have just laid back.
No, it's...
I don't think it'll pick up the crunch.
Eat it
Anyways,
behind the microphone.
Yes, it's-
Quickly need behind the screen. All right, our IT specialist
I wonder
has confirmed
what
the carrot
voice
eating.
from above we just heard in our heads.
Tiamat?
Speaking of character,
It was our DM. This is all scripted, yeah?
Yes.
speaking of character sheets versus D&D Beyond, Quake++ says worn character sheet after long campaign is a nice memorabilia. Yes.
Yes, it is.
It is. I fully agree. We were just talking about whether it
Finish.
dragged the experience down, right? Not whether, character sheets have a nice sentimental value or, are a more pleasant medium to work with. So I don't know.
Actually, sorry, I cut you off.
No, I finished.
I have a very limited edition character sheet in my home, and it's actually a morbid story. It's not a happy ending one. It is a character sheet made by a player who sadly passed away like 3 years ago. I still have it. He had a familiar that was a frog called Snoop Toad. he was a mushroom shaman, all about that.
Snoop Toad?
Snoop Toad, yeah.
But the Snoop Frog joke was right there. Snoop Dogg, Snoop Frog. It was
Snoop Toad. Also like Snoop Dogg.
Okay, fine.
Snoop
fine.
Todd.
Yeah, kind of.
No, but if we're talking about memorabilia, I still have the sheet from the Tournament of Pigs from my inglorious deaths and glorious survivals, stored very religiously inside an envelope in my desk drawer, so it's protected from the elements.
Well, yeah, Shadur is also somewhere held very nicely. It's one of the sheets that I have made sure not to accidentally give it to my daughter to draw on or anything. 3 or 4 others she has drawn on, but that one is staying away because that's the first character I ever cared about.
Oh.
I mean, she can make some character art.
On another sheet of paper, not that one.
Fair enough.
And on that topic, just one more quick side note.
3 hours later.
When I was DMing for you guys, and Anton, I'm still looking forward to DMing for you as well.
I'm coming.
I was actually making all rolls in front of the players. So
Yeah.
we were talking about character sheets and D&D Beyond. I guess one of the things that gets a little bit lost is visibility of this. But when I was actually DMing myself. I didn't have a screen. Well, I didn't have a DM screen in front of me. I had all the screens where I was looking for information, and I was rolling just in front of everyone. But I did have the advantage that I did create the characters as homebrew, so
We couldn't guess.
I used values for the attacks and for the resistances and everything that were easy for me to remember and kind of consistent, so I wouldn't have to go back and forth to the character sheet all the time and check what was happening there.
I'm trying to figure out a Melman's comment, and I'll forever gonna have a drawing of Julia from our first D&D session with Anton, René, and Adrian. Please remind me, what's that?
Remember when you first invited us to the community itself?
Yes,
when
yes.
we went to your work, I believe.
yes.
Yeah, Memna drew her character. She actually spent a lot of time like doing the portrait of it.
Oh, that's sweet.
And she still has it.
That's sweet.
Not-
Well,
So, yeah.
I stalled for as much as I could think of, so that the people at home would have a chance to ask their questions.
I mean, we're about to end it, or do you have something?
I think I agree with your yawn. I would like to also go to sleep soon. So
We are
Yeah,
after work.
yawning is contagious, guys. So thank you
It's the
very
yawning
much
portal,
for staying with us on the stream. Thank you for your questions and your comments. It was really excited to read them and give them some thought and some opinions. There will definitely be more podcasts like this. And if you want to join the podcast, please find us on ttrpg.ee, and we always have seats at the table. Maybe we can get some more mics next time. We have a wizard behind the screen here, Sneaky Joe, who's kindly set the stream up for us, and let's hope his kindness prevails.
question for René says comment from Mel. Can you make a little dance?
A little dance. Let's call it the Chewbacca dance.
Let's hope that wakes you up a little bit. All right, guys.
Here you
Thank
can
you
have
so
the
much.
dancing sword.
Thank you for
Right.
joining us live. We loved having you here. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, send it to your friends. We will upload a better quality version soon with the funny AI previews.
I will have a mustache and a long beard in that version, right?
Yeah, please. I'll design the prompt accordingly.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, folks. Good night.
Right.
Have a lovely weekend.
Night.
It is that time, yeah.
It's almost 11 in
How
the
did,
evening.
how did you like it?
I could stay here for like an hour more or whatever.
If not for the need to go to the restroom again.